The following stream contains mature content and subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
And welcome to the finale for our Delta Green The Lies We Tell game. My name is Brad, Timber Brad in the Discord and here in Twitch. And I will be the handler slash storyteller for the end of this small story of ours, and I'll let my players introduce themselves.
I'm Irian, and I am playing Special Agent Luther Doyle.
Hi, I'm Mischievous Red, and I'm playing Special Agent Carolyn Carter.
Hi everyone, I'm Kai, and I'm playing Carlos Saturn Gutierrez, the Special Agent as well.
And where we left our agents, they had just gotten back from doing a bit of a recon mission at the Seventh Sun Welcoming and Info Center, not sending Luther to his solo doom. And you guys got some pretty good information. So we'll pick up at the very end of that night. I know that you guys, Carlos had been going through the information that he got from their computers, and Dr. Carter had been doing the analysis on the food and drink, had isolated some foreign substance. And what was Luther doing? Maybe just getting stuff ready for the.
I think so. Yeah, there wasn't anything specific.
So before we, I'm going to assume, Carolyn will pretty much spend most of the rest of the night, going through the samples, trying to isolate it. I know she had said that she wanted, to try to see if there was a way to like isolate, neutralize. So that would have taken you pretty much through most of the night. To get all the information Carlos would have got, or Saturn would have got, it would have taken him a good chunk of the night as well. And then, yeah, Luther is probably, like, once he got the floor plans from Saturn, was probably just trying to plan out, like, you know, what the the plan like going forward would be. The floor plan, it's a pretty standard like 2-floor like rec center type thing. Is basically like a greeting area, like a welcoming center, or almost like a big lobby. The best way I can describe it is if you ever go into like a church rec center, almost how there's always like that big welcoming room, and then they've got like little off rooms. So there's like a couple of those. One's a kitchen. There's like a couple of offices or whatever, but it basically just looks like a rec center. And it's 2 stories because there is like a sub level, and you can tell from the floor plan that you basically go through one. There's like a little stairwell off of the main gathering area that takes you down, and then through you go down into the second level, and that'll take you to a stairway outside. And from that stairwell, there's basically a path that leads from the back of this building to a what looks like some sort of open trying to think what the word is, like an open air kind of area with like pews or seating area, and off the path of the stairway, it's like a
Like a courtyard?
kind of, so it's like
Oh,
it's
is
like
it
it's like an outside walking path through, basically from the back of this building that's like on the edge of the woods, through the woods, and it's like this clear dirt walkway, but there's like wooden stairs kind of like making their way up,
atrium?
yeah. So then making your way back to this open air space. As you can tell from the information that Saturn had gotten, there's no no security measures. Like they literally have, as far as you can tell from the information he got, 0 concerns about safety for whatever reason. Which may also kind of explain why Avery had little to no idea about, if there was like any sort of like security detail or whatever, because it's something that they wouldn't be aware of. But I will give you guys a little bit of time finishing this day before we get into the next day. So is there anything else you guys want to cover before we move on?
Saturn is going to quickly just assess with everyone how everyone's progress is going. And he's going to ask, so the main idea of the plan is cause a distraction. Some of us go inside, try to grab the next target and get out. Right?
Yeah, I don't think that we could try and take out Nestor, but I'm not particularly a violent person. So I'd much rather just thwart the plans, especially since they're so time-based.
Yeah.
Well, being that there is surprisingly little security, as in none, that means there's no objection, or well, there might be an objection, but there's nothing that'll keep us from going in armed to make things go our way if it has to. So I would suggest packing. Saturn, they didn't prescribe you from having anything, did they?
I can use a gun, but not well.
That beats not having one.
No, no.
I mean, I also wonder if there's no security that we know of, but that doesn't
Right.
mean there's not like alien tech or something that could also be detecting it. I don't know.
That's a thing we didn't consider.
Also, what if they can't? What if one of us is like one of the puppets or whatever, and we don't know it, and we bring in weapons that we could then use against each other? Or what if one of us becomes controlled somehow? I
I
think
see.
that maybe I think Luther, you should bring a gun. I think that
I can do well without the gun as well. I'm versed in.
I'll trust you on that since you're more of a security person. I could bring in like a pocket knife or something. Not too deadly, but something.
Yeah, I am thinking about taking some flash grenades.
I mean,
If nothing. Hmm?
I'm sure there's military powered stuff here. I mean, I'm sure if I wanted to, I could get a stun gun or a taser here. That's probably would be pretty
I think tasers are nice.
damaging.
I'll take a taser.
And yeah, like all of this stuff is here. Lethal, non-lethal options. Yeah, so you can choose, take what you think is most appropriate. Um, yeah.
And we were also going to notify both groups, right? Agent Ashton and
Mhm.
Agent Phillips.
About
Yes.
the information, but not about each other.
Right.
No, they don't need to know that.
So what specifically do you tell Agent Phillips?
Probably the time and place of the event, and that we have reason to believe uh Riley's there.
Okay. Um,
And that this is where the next like sacrifice will happen or event, whatever we want to call it.
so he'll, you know, say, got it. And we'll have a small team on standby. Um, he will indicate a like a dead drop for picking up like a communication device so that you can contact him, and he will be leading the group that he brings, but then that way you can be in touch with him once you're on the ground. And yeah, and he'll tell you that he does, once if things get bad, um, since two of you don't have a history of like combat experience to kind of like make yourself scarce. Luther, if you can choose to either engage or get them out, kind of act as like their like personal security to get them out. In fact, when he says it, he'll think about it and say, better yet, just leave it to us. Um, just keep them safe. Um,
Understood.
and then, do you guys have any questions for him?
That turn doesn't.
Okay. Um, what do you tell Ashton?
Probably the same thing. That we have reason to think it's here, that the next event's happening here. And we think Riley's being held here.
Okay. Yeah, you've got the access to the safe house. Everything there is at your disposal. I would recommend coming armed just in case shit hits the fan. If you're good with guns, great. If you're not, my experience has generally been better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. But I get it. Not everyone's great with guns. I don't want you walking in there basically being like a big red flag of anxiety because you're carrying something you're not comfortable with. So do whatever you think is going to give you away the least. I'm sure Luther's founded by now. There's plenty of communication stuff in there. You guys can keep in touch with each other, keep in touch with me. We'll have a group on standby. It'll be me and 2 other agents. And you won't be alone. Let me reassure you. You may not see us, but you're not walking into this by yourself. So just
You have other agents in play that will be mixed in with the crowd. All right.
the other agents who work directly with me will be on site. And from what she's told you before, she works with a very small group of agents. With the outlaws, there's probably like 2 others that she would work with. So you would understand this from like your special ops background. That especially with like small teams, they're usually like 2-3 man, very specialized. And whereas like the government stuff might be a bit more heavy-handed, kind of depending on how much they're trying to hide what they're doing. And kind of like from what you've been told, that's probably what you're expecting is whatever Phillips has is probably going to be a bit more shock and awe. And then whatever Ashton has is probably more covert and surgical.
Right. I would expect us to be able to pick out easily Phillips' team and Ashton's to be much more covert.
Correct. Yeah. From your experience, that's probably a very reasonable assumption.
Philip's team isn't going to be like they're there until we tell them we need them, though, right? They're going to be like, yeah, okay.
And it's also reasonable to assume that now that they have an idea of where everything's going to be in a timeline, they're probably going to be doing some sort of like recon of their own with like satellites or something. So they're probably going to know exactly where everything is. And like their goal is to be the period or the exclamation point at the end of the sentence. Like they're not going to necessarily wait for you to contact them should they need to, but
they're gonna wait for shit to hit the fan.
Yeah. Okay. So we will go into the night, into the next day. How do you guys think with everything your characters would be sleeping tonight?
Like a baby.
I mean, I think it depends on it. She would not sleep until she figures it out.
Okay. So
Saturn is a ball of anxiety. He's not sleeping as well.
Okay. So this isn't going to affect Luther as much, but it'll definitely affect the other 2. So you're able to Dr. Carter, you're able to isolate whatever this is, but for the lack of a better term, you're not going to be like, you can't find any way to stop whatever this is. But whatever it is seems to have a short like half-life. Whatever this is, it's meant to do a thing and then disappears fairly quickly, either by design or by nature. For whatever reason, it's really, really hard to nail this thing down long term. But
How
you know,
quick-
go ahead.
We're talking like minutes, hours, days.
So it's weird. It seems that when you're looking at a sample, so let's say you're looking at it under like a microscope, if as soon as you seem to have identified it and seem to be showing it any sort of direct attention, it disappears within minutes. But you know that it still exists in the sample the entirety of the time you have it. This is a completely alien substance.
Does it come back?
No. So once it disappears, it's gone.
Okay.
But it seems to have some sort of
defense mechanism almost.
Yeah. Okay. So I need Saturn and Carter to roll a d6.
D6.
Oh, love that. Oh wait, is this no, I feel like this isn't the same thing for lower is better.
No, in this case, lower is better.
Okay.
So you both lose 1 willpower, and you're exhausted. Which means that depending on the test, until you get either some decent sleep or you decide to take stimulants, you are going to have a penalty to every test you roll for.
Are there stimulants in the safe house?
I mean, you can buy them easily. I mean, they would have like things for missions and stuff in the safe house if you want to go with those. Okay. So roll another d6.
Okay.
Okay. So in 4 hours, Carolyn, you'll either need to sleep or take more stimulants. Saturn, for you, it's 5 hours.
All right.
Can we bring like some in our backpacks or like
Sure.
a purse? Okay.
But also keep in mind, you don't regain willpower. Every time you take another dose, you lose more willpower.
Oh.
And depending on what you take, you may become addicted.
So knowing this, can we like retcon a little bit to where we take it like before we're leaving?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
so the issue is going to be that because you're not sleeping so well, this isn't going to be this is pretty much from the time. So we're going to say 8 a.m. So from 8 a.m., you're going to have 4 hours where you either have to take another dose.
I'd rather wait to take it. I'd rather take the penalty.
Well, so you're saying that you'd rather take the penalty and then right before you go take it. I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So
to get rid of the penalty.
Okay. Yeah. So then that means up until you decide you're taking the dose, you're going to be operating at a negative.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Sounds good. What does Saturn want to do?
Oh, same thing.
Same thing? Okay. Luther, you don't have to worry about any of this because
Slept like a baby.
You guys look like shit. Didn't
We
you
were
sleep?
working.
Not
Unlike some
exactly.
people.
It's a little hard to sleep considering the whole circumstances we're in.
We're not used to this like you.
Fair enough.
So this goes throughout the night. Like I said, we're going to get to about 8 o'clock in the morning. Luther's probably already up. I would say it's probably closer to like maybe even like 5 or 6.
Yeah,
in the morning, it was probably a little bit more. And then you two were still awake. So you know that you've got until dusk. So what do you guys want to do for... We're going to try and speed this along a little bit. So let's say between when Luther gets up at 6 and let's say noon. What do you want to be doing for that chunk of time?
At least a little bit of it. I'm going to ask what the others have, if they discovered anything.
So, I haven't been able to neutralize it. Not quite, anyway.
Have you figured out how it acts?
When it's observed, it becomes inactive.
Huh.
So my thought process is if we can find a way to make it think it's been observed,
Observed how?
here, and she'll take a sample and put it under a microscope, and she'll tell him to look.
Okay.
And so then I imagine she sees it like, or he sees it like move a little bit, like.
So yeah, so once she identifies kind of what it is you're looking for, you'll notice that it's there for maybe a couple of minutes and then it just disappears. Leaves no trace that it was there, no like residue, none of the cells around it seem to be affected by it as far as you can tell. It just seems like it was there and then it's not. And you're also aware that outside of the sample you're looking at specifically, it seems to exist completely unaffected by whatever you're doing.
So I don't know how we would do this, but my thought is that if somehow we can trick it into thinking it was observed, it might become inactive, but I don't know how we would do that per se. I would need to do more testing to see if it's even possible, and even then it could be fruitless.
Have you been able to figure out what its function is, though? I mean, is it defensive, intelligence gathering, meant to
Mind
deliver?
control.
I mean, from what we've been told, it seems to have some sort of controlling effect, or at least making people susceptible to control.
So you would definitely have noticed that when it's present, it does seem to sort of control what the like cells around it are doing. But then again, once it disappears, it's like it just goes back like nothing ever happened.
So,
I take that back. So one thing you do notice is some of the cells almost seem to be newer after it disappears than it was when you look at it. So it almost seems like it rejuvenates or revives the material that it's in. But once it sort of hits that point, it disappears.
where it's gone, it's gone.
Mhm.
So, my I don't know if this is accurate, is that it almost functions as a sort of hive mind in a way. To where only certain parts of it will disappear, but the rest will remain entirely unaffected. It can rejuvenate. It seems, and that would explain the control as well, if it's all part of the same entity, I guess.
Oh, so you're saying it's like just one alien?
I don't know.
It's too much that we don't know. We honestly don't have enough time.
I could do more, but I question how, like I said, how fruitful it would be.
Hmm.
Because, like, if that's the case, then theoretically, if we could cut off the signal
connection?
between, the signal between it's whatever's doing the controlling, but I don't know if it's also internalized. I don't know. It's beyond
Hmm.
anything I've ever seen.
We honestly shouldn't lose enough time, a lot of time in this. Then we have to prepare as best as we can.
So what are you guys going to do from, let's say, we'll say the 6 a.m., aside from this conversation till noon? What do you want to do as far as like preparing for tonight?
Honestly, I feel like Carolyn might be a little disheartened and might go to sleep.
Okay.
Because she's kind of at a loss at what to do. She's just kind of hoping sleeping on it'll help.
Okay.
If that's okay with everybody else.
Sure, get some
Yeah.
rest.
Saturn is going to try maybe see if he can identify some sort of signal or energy that's going through the samples that he maybe can counteract somewhat.
Okay.
Using this weird equipment, specifically that weird equipment that's bolted to the walls of this bunker.
Okay.
Try and see how that works.
So for Saturn, roll me. Roll me, because this isn't really something that you would be familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and roll the craft microelectronics just to see if like you can look at the sample and introduce some sort of like electricity to it using like the computer stuff that you're familiar with.
Let's see. Oh,
Yeah, this is as it is completely alien to Dr. Carter. I mean, it's even more so to you. Like it seems completely unaffected by anything and everything you think of. Um, it doesn't seem to make it disappear or stick around any differently. It's just completely unaffected by everything you try. Luther, what do you want to do for these 4 hours
I'm going to
or these hours?
right, quietly, so as to not disturb Agent Carter. I'm going to look around the safe house to see if I can. There's anything I can use to do a little bit more investigation into Riley.
Okay.
See if there's any background information about her that might seem relevant to why she
Uh,
was chosen.
so you kind of got a little bit of that already. So she was an honor student. Um, was very much like everybody else, was very um, interested in the whole UFO sighting increase. Was definitely more on the um, she wasn't like true believer like Avery or like Dr. Carter, but she was definitely more than just a casual interest sort of thing. But yeah, she was a honor student, very smart. Um, you're guessing based on everything that you'd already found out that it's probably because of her intelligence and the suspicion that part of whatever this ritual is involves removing her brain. Might have been why she was targeted. Just because with the escalation of um, body parts going missing and sort of the importance of them. Um, your best guess, given everything you found so far, is that it's her mind or her brain is what they're after specifically with her.
Okay.
But other than that, nothing like odd jumps out. Like, not because she's made like a couple social media posts about the increase, kind of doing those, oh hey, maybe there's something to this, blah 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 blah. Kind of drawing attention a little bit to herself, but nothing crazy. Like thousands, millions of people have made comments about the fact that UFOs are everywhere. I mean, it's making the front page of major newspapers in New York City. So it's not like the city isn't aware this is happening. It's more so one of those, how much do you believe that it's, you know, test aircraft from the government versus how much of it is like actual aliens. Maybe it's just people taking pictures of drones. Like, for all the people who have seen it, there are plenty of people who in the city haven't seen them. So there's also the debate on how real is it, blah blah blah.
And one of the other specific things I wanted to look into is to look at her and compare to the other victims and see if there's any, like, either family or social relation in between her and any of the other ones.
Not that you can find. It seems to be all of the people who've gone missing, different like ethnic backgrounds, other than the ones who have a relation to the three of you, and what you've been told by Agent Ashton, that everybody has had some relation to an agent that's gone missing, or to an agent that has tried to stop these rituals at other points. It seems the only connection that these people have is there seems to be some sort of connection to agents, but past that, no connection to each other. If that makes sense.
It does. And I don't find any agent that she might be connected to.
No.
Okay.
And that could
Nothing there.
just be either that like their security clearance is enough where like they're hidden, or it could be a different name. Like you
Right.
just can't parse exactly why you can't find anyone tied to them. But she's, so far in that one respect, the only one that stands out. And it could just be you just don't have all the info.
Right.
So yeah, so we'll say that takes us up to noon. And thanks to the miracle of technology, sunset in New York City on December 30th, 2024 was 4:38 p.m. So we're going to say from noon to 4. What are you guys doing? Obviously, the tail end of this means you need to be showing up.
So Carolyn, feeling much refreshed, I'm sure.
So because you stayed up through the night and at least have only had 4 hours, you will still be exhausted, but you won't have as high of a penalty
Okay.
because you're not getting a full 8 hours.
Yeah. She realized she is going to use all of her background knowledge and research. This is what she's been preparing for, is to meet aliens. She's going to use all of that knowledge to try and protect herself against grays. And whatever she's found online, even if that means she has to resort to a tinfoil hat.
Okay.
Oh
yeah,
if she doesn't
no.
have anything else.
Yeah, no,
so
100%. I gotcha.
Yeah, so she's gonna try and figure out like what can we can't do what we were hoping to do, so we don't really have anything right now to go off of. We're going in blind. So she's gonna try and protect herself using whatever method she knows how to.
Okay.
And try and convince the others to do the same thing too. Don't know if she'll be able to convince them to wear tinfoil hats, but we'll see.
I mean,
Go ahead.
She's the specialist, so if she's saying that's what's going to protect them, he can wear a tinfoil hat.
Okay. Does is Luther convinced to wear a tinfoil hat?
No, he is not.
Okay, if a tinfoil hat works, okay, like obviously real world gray lore versus like game gray lore might be different. So if it's not tinfoil hats in the game world, that's fine. That's just the
No,
stereotype.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can do like searching. Anybody who has talked about like seeing grays or anything, it's kind of one of those the best, I guess, defense honestly just comes down to whether you're the one they pick or not. So there's not really a lot of active things that Dr. Carter is going to find that would seem reputable. You're more than welcome to walk in with a tinfoil hat if you want. I don't know how effective it'll be. But again, it's how reputable does Dr. Carter think this would be?
She's gonna casually sneak a tinfoil hat into her purse, hoping that Agent Doyle doesn't see because she knows that he'll judge her.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say, in Luther, we'll probably try to slip a few sheets of aluminum foil into his pack without the others knowing, just in case.
Gotcha. Oh yeah. He's not buying into it, but he's not.
Yeah, I'm not going to completely exclude it.
Like just in case. All right, I gotcha.
Just in case.
So we're gonna say up until, because it's gonna take you so we'll say you're at the safe house and it would take you like an hour and a half to get out to where the thing is. Yeah. So we'll say like about 3 o'clock ish. You guys will start heading out. Is there any last minute things you guys want to do before you leave? Anybody you want to call? Any information you want to try and check in on? Like you've already kind of touched base with both agents. It's reasonable to assume that they are going to be doing exactly what they told you they were.
She's gonna send a quick text to her husband, just letting him know that she loves him.
Okay.
And her son.
Yeah, and you get a text back from your husband. Love you too. Be safe. And you get one back from your son who's like, quit being weird, Mom. Love you too. And anything from the other two of you?
No, I'm going on a mission.
Okay.
Actually, Saturn is going to message his friend Iago Neptune.
Okay.
His partner in hacking. And simply going to say, head into some weird shit. Pick up my dust if I don't come back.
Just get a message back. You got it. Stay safe.
And with that, yeah,
Okay.
He's ready.
So now we are getting into the stimulant part of our narrative here. I'm assuming now is when Saturn is going to take his.
Yes.
And I'm assuming Dr. Carter is going to take hers now. You guys have already rolled for the willpower stuff. Saturn didn't sleep at all, so his could get worse. You got a little bit of sleep, so yours won't be as bad, but
Okay, yeah, then I'll go ahead and take it now.
Okay. And then Luther's well rested and ready to go. Okay. So yeah, so you guys drive out there. Any conversations you want to have on the trip out? Otherwise, yeah.
All
I
right.
think
Well, we're when it comes to the moment of truth, if we can grab Riley and make it out, where do you want to take her afterwards?
mm,
Or
the
should we
safe
just
house.
safe house, hand her over to Ashton
We're not handing her to anybody.
or to Phillips?
We're not handing her to anybody. Why do they need her?
Just to make sure nothing's been done to her. Or maybe you could take care of analyzing, take a sample or two to see if she's been compromised.
I can do that. I don't trust them to not do more to her or to not let her go.
Okay.
Cause extra problems by trying themselves to make something with the aliens. If the words of that outlaw are to be trusted.
Hard to say who to trust, but I'm kind of leaning more towards Ashton than Phillips.
Hmm.
I feel like she'll use any leverage she can get in order to make
Mhm.
the aliens go away. And if that means hurting innocent people, I don't know if she wouldn't do that. She came into our room with a gun and just welcomed us with a gun.
Oh, but
Yeah.
well, she didn't point it at us and didn't threaten us with it at all. She had no idea what to expect from us. So,
Yeah. Well, Agent Phillips did arrest me and put me into a solitary confinement for who knows how long.
So
Eh,
you would have known, like once you got out and you kind of were told what day it was. They had you for like maybe a day.
mm-hmm. Um,
I mean, the bag you had was stylish, I have to admit.
yeah. That was indeed a statement.
So I think that priority would be to get her back to the car. Um, if we can't get her back to the car for whatever reason, where do we want to take her? Do either of you remember any point on the map that maybe we could meet up, take her to? That would be far enough away for us to wait it out if we need to.
Hmm. I think the safe house is the best bet.
The only problem I have with the safe house is that gives away Ashton's resources if we get caught up with Phillips.
Why do you care?
They both seem to be, although they're independent, they both seem to be serving reasonable interests.
Well, for one, I honestly look at that and go, well, they didn't provide an answer, so they can't be mad at our answer. And for the other side, if they are in their civil war, people are being killed by aliens. Why do they care so much about that? Everyone's grown
To
up
be
here.
to be clear and to be like transparent, they didn't care that people were being sacrificed. They cared about the completion of the ritual and what that would mean.
Which tells us even more about them. Let's just focus on getting her to the car and get ourselves out alive. And then we can figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, what happens while we're there may determine um, our decision after. I mean, if
Yeah.
Phillips comes in blasting, or whatever happens, we may decide at that point what to do.
So I guess, are you gonna go searching through the house to try and find her while the event's going on?
In as much
Or-
as I can, yes.
Okay. Do you need us to do anything? I guess make the distraction now,
Well, we have comms, so we can keep in touch with each other. Just
Mhm.
be eyes.
And for the sake, just so you guys are all aware, like the comms that you have access to are going to be things that are like in your ear and easily like concealed. Like you're not walking in there with like Secret Service wires or anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I also just want to get a point of clarification. We did pick up the stuff from Agent Phillips at the Dropbox.
Okay.
Or the
Yeah,
drop.
I assumed
Okay.
competence.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I figured honestly, if nothing else, Luther might have done it in the middle of the night while you guys were working.
Mhm.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
no, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I just wish we had more to go off of for this.
What we have to go off of is honestly little time and a death to prevent, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I brought a taser.
Hopefully
Brought
it's
it.
enough.
Are you planning to take anything yourself, Doctor?
She also pulls out a taser. And she
Listen,
kind of sheepishly pulls out the tinfoil hat.
you can never be too safe.
I don't know. Well, obviously I hope we're successful, but I'm glad that we got to work on it and we got to try and figure it out.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're able to save her and maybe the world.
Mm.
That feels weird.
Well, if aliens don't get to finish their thing, maybe they won't.
But in that case, maybe you'll get to finally realize your dream job, what you've been looking for.
That does make me want to see if I can, I don't know, grab something to take back with me for additional information, but I'll have to deal with the samples I got probably.
Let's not be too overzealous.
So like as you guys are driving, let's say time's passed, and so I put a like a small map in the cast chat just so you guys can kind of see the overall idea. But there is the Eastport Manor Road goes along the like parallel to the highway, and there's this like 2-lane road that takes like a sharp right. And you see a sign that just says Temple of the Seventh Son. Um, and then there's this long, essentially like driveway. And from the recon that Luther would have been able to do, you know that top down look. So you know that there is a road that goes in, basically does this big circle and then comes out. It's the only road in, it's the only road out.
Okay. And during
Go
the
ahead.
area study of that place, I'd also just make sure, like doing a drive with Google.
Yeah. So when you do the Google Drive, it only ever lets you go along the Manor Road. It never actually lets you turn onto that.
Okay.
And then yeah, the best you got is aerial photos, which seem maybe to be a little outdated. But realistically, it seems accurate enough that you've got the two roads. Obviously one, and each road is one direction, so it's a logical assumption that it's one big road in one direction that basically circles around. When it gets down, as you're going along, it'll take like a curve to the right and then a little bit of a more gradual curve to the left, and you'll see like a little parking lot there, where you see people getting out of their cars and then walking up along the road on a sidewalk up to what you assume would be where the actual like chapel building is. And then in front of the building, more parking. And then the road continues around, makes a sharp left where you can sort of assume is the next direction of the road, or the next like part to go back onto Manor Road rather. And then what you know from the schematics that you got off of the computer is that there is this big front building. Again, like I said, it has the big open room, kind of like when you come in, like the gathering area. And then there's the little offshoot for like offices. And then there's stairs going down that takes you out back towards where the outside areas where you can assume is where like the different shrines are, memorials, and then probably where the actual ritual itself will take place.
It was noted on the map where the sacrifice room is.
Conveniently, no.
Oh.
But it is reasonable to assume that there is either something closer to the actual ritual site, where there is probably like some sort of shed or some sort of building that wasn't included, but would logically be where, like, if they needed to move somebody into this area a little quicker, that there's got to be somewhere around there that they would be keeping her. Otherwise, there's this, like, they're not going to walk her down this big long walk that everyone else is doing. So there's got to be something closer.
Okay. So are we there yet?
Yeah. So you guys have gotten up to the you guys have turned onto the road. And you're coming up by where the parking is. Where of the parking places would you guys park?
Some way that we can make a quick and unobstructed as possible exit.
So closer towards the exit or closer towards. So I'm assuming competence, pretty much like finding the parking area that is closest towards the direction going out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, and there's plenty of spots available, easy enough for you to maneuver your way in. Like I said, you're a little early compared to everybody else because you signed up to be a volunteer.
And of course, we're pointed out. We don't have to back up to leave. We're just going to shoot out straight out.
Again, I'm assuming competence that you
Okay.
have parked in a way that will facilitate a quicker escape.
I mean, even if we have to go over the yard.
You are essentially, you have managed to park your SUV where you literally, all that is between you and the road is like a sidewalk, presumably to like people get out of their vehicle, walk back the other direction towards. So you've essentially gone past the building, where like the gathering area is, to park over here to make it where you can get out easier. But you are facing out towards the road. All that's between you and the road is a sidewalk, which you can easily drive over in an SUV if you need to. No fence, nothing.
Okay.
Like the way this is set up is not set up for somebody who, like, it doesn't feel like there's anybody trying to keep you in. And should you need to escape, it is completely like you are set up to escape as quickly as you can.
Okay. Now, one critical piece of info. Do we have more than one set of keys? Did we get a set for each of us when we got the vehicle?
Give me a luck roll. So just roll a d20 or a d100.
There's also a luck button at the top of your character sheet.
Oh, yeah. Or you just hit that.
Can I roll both and see which one I get if that's better?
Sure. Why not? I'm generous today.
Ooh.
Let's see.
I mean, you got a 69, so
We got 2 69s.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it's a third, that's pretty lucky. It is not a third.
It's
Okay,
I'll take the
13.
first one.
well, I was like, which one do you want? Do you want the 69 or do you
No.
want the 13?
Oh, I want the 13, really.
Okay. So there were 2 sets of keys.
Okay. I'll
3
let the-
sets of keys, I think, is ridiculous for any vehicle. So 2 sets of keys. Yeah. There would be 2 on.
So there's 2 sets of keys. Are there 2 fobs?
Yeah, there are 2 sets of keys.
So Carolyn's gonna take the fob off of one of them and give the keys to Saturn, probably. So they each have a way of getting to the car and potentially driving.
Okay, so just so you're aware, so this isn't like the kind of thing where you can like remote start, because this is a government vehicle. It's not that fancy.
Most
so
cars are remote start now. Fine.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I can get in still.
You would need to put a key into the ignition to drive, but the fob would allow you to get into the vehicle.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Better than nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are 2 sets of each.
Yep.
Okay.
Luther gets a full set. I figured he was the driver anyway.
I figured as well, just because with the like tactical history stuff. I
Yeah.
figure if nothing else, Saturn's probably on the computer trying to do whatever he can, and then Carolyn is probably like a mix of nerves and then also like just trying to work through in her brain as much as she can, like trying to see, is there something I missed, kind of a thing. This is how I imagined it. And yeah, Luther being
Mm-hmm.
cold and calculated is pretty much just like, I'm driving, I know where we're going. Yeah. So you guys get out. You probably see a couple of people. Luther, you were there like 2 days. You probably see people that you recognize from the center. A couple of people who were kind of there taking like a couple of people who were basically filling the same role as Avery, kind of like talking to people, to different groups. You see a couple of them sort of like standing around in the parking, sort of like ushering people towards the building. And after maybe a couple of minutes, you actually happen to run into Avery close to the front of the entrance of the building. It's like, Luther, Carolyn, it was good to see you.
Avery.
Glad you guys made it. Found it okay? Any trouble making it out here?
No, not at all.
Very easy.
Awesome. As you're walking up to the building, you notice that it has a very similar aesthetic to the Welcome Center. Lots of like Egyptian iconography, but very specifically over the front door, you see 7 stylized suns kind of like cresting over the top of the door. And it's like, oh, I'm so glad you guys can make it. Here, come on, let's get you in. We'll do the quick tour for you guys, and then we'll get you changed.
Changed?
Well, yeah, like people
What
got to
you-
know who the like. It's a simple
Volunteer
just like
shirt or
yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
okay.
something
All
to
right.
throw on, and so people can identify you. And then, so just come on in.
Okay.
So you move in, and the disconnect from what it looks like outside to what it looks like inside is noticeable.
How so?
It is, so it still maintains that like Egyptian iconography, but there is a lot more, almost what looks like alien tech.
Okay.
Um,
Like some of the things we saw at the safe house, kind of alien tech.
um, similar style,
Okay.
but not like the similar thing. Um, you do notice there seems to be no issue with your comms. You
Okay.
guys can hear each other perfectly fine. Even when you test it, stepping out a little bit, um, nothing seems to be breaking your signal here.
Okay.
But yeah, you see sort of like hieroglyphics almost, um, kind of like artistically around the walls, that seem to show alien craft and beings that, from your research, are probably the Greys, and people. And it looks like, it basically looks like there's this tapestry of a story of these visitors coming, um, and interacting with humans. Um,
And do I like I can't speak for any of the others, but do I feel anything pushing at the corners of my consciousness like
Nothing.
before?
Nope.
Okay.
Nobody feels anything. Like nothing's
Okay.
probing, nothing's tingling. You don't feel nausea, nothing like that.
Okay, Saturn is gonna put his tinfoil hat. And
Well, I did give it a second. Give it a second. So they escort you in. Do you guys have like bags or anything that you need to sit down? We got a code check. I know you said you didn't want to do the code check, Luther, but we still got a code check. If anybody wants to leave some stuff here, otherwise, yeah.
Nope. I'm good.
Okay, cool.
fine.
My bag's pretty small. It's just like a
Oh yeah,
crossbody.
you can keep it with you. It'll fit under. You'll be fine. Um, and so he takes you off to like one of the sides, um, and you see basically there's like a set of robes and sort of like, what do you call it, like ornamental headdress. um they're fairly small, almost kind of like just like a little hat that fits like over your head, which can easily conceal tinfoil should you want to do that. um and on the robe, it I guess it's more like a tunic. It's not like floor length necessarily, but it's got the that stylized the seven suns, but then it's got like a weird pattern, um, kind of above the sun that would be in the middle. So there would be like the one large sun, and then there'd be like three suns, sort of like in an arc on either side, and right above is this weird symbol, um, that you can't exactly place, but it makes all of you uneasy.
Hmm.
Um,
And is it the same on all three of us?
yeah, it's the same on all of the ropes.
Okay.
Um, I will need you guys to roll sanity for me.
Ooh.
Yikes.
Oh, well,
No.
fun. Um, so Luther, Carolyn, you're fine. Um,
I'm
Saturn,
not.
Saturn. Um, so you only lose one sanity. Um, but something about this symbol weirds you the fuck out. Um, like you can't place it, but you feel like you've seen it somewhere. um, and you have a very distinct feeling that whatever it is not good.
Mm-hmm. Saturn is going to, as discreetly as possible, warn the other two while he tries to evade from our company.
Yeah. Well, so like when he kind of like shows you in where the ropes are, he doesn't necessarily like stand there with you. So you guys can get in there, throw them on real quick, put on your tinfoil if you want to,
Mhm.
and then make it out of the room without worrying about.
Yeah.
Well, if Saturn told us that he's feeling uncomfortable about it,
Yeah.
then when we go out, I'll engage Avery immediately, talking about like stuff we're going to do, what he's expecting. Has he gotten any more updates on like who he's expecting to come tonight, just to keep him engaged so he's not watching the other
Yeah,
two.
yeah, no, I gotcha. Oh yeah, I mean, I think I told you yesterday. Nestor, he's the leader. He'll be here.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Um,
great.
Steve, the Mr. Alsip that is telling your friend, telling Carolyn about, he'll be here. Um, and yeah, it's people who have come over the last like few days, since the most recent sighting. People who have been here from previous events. Um, but that's really it. No one like. Well, I don't think the mayor's coming, but
Mm.
but yeah, just let me. We can talk as we go up.
Well, if not the mayor, do you have any other special guests coming? I mean, is there going to be any special, like, well, special people like for the ceremony or anything?
Oh, but that would be ruining the surprise.
Oh, okay. I just want to be able to, like if people ask me while I'm greeting them, I just want to tell them, have
You
some
didn't
info to tell
you
them.
didn't tell them the same thing. It's ruining the surprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Um, and like you'll walk up. So he takes you along that path that you know about. Um, so a different side room. It's like a stairway going down. Um, there's no door off of that side room. It's just basically like a little stairway that takes you downstairs, back, um, takes you outside, basically to the edge of the woods. And there's this well cleared path that goes kind of up this hill into the woods. And there's like a railing with it's like a combination dirt and like wooden step pathway with rails that takes you up and off kind of a little bit to the right. Um, and you don't see so much where the path ends, but you see, and kind of from where you're at the bottom of the path, you can see little places, like little breaks in the railing that you can tell is probably little like offshoots. Um, it's like so you'll be pretty much getting folks from the welcome center from the foyer, the gathering area end up here, and we'll basically just take them down out back, and we'll just walk up to this. If people ask, there's like paths off to the side. Those aren't so much useful for tonight, but they're kind of here for the other times.
Okay.
And
What else do you use this for?
mainly it's just like ceremonial stuff. Like we do like regular gatherings, obviously with everything that's been happening recently. It's a little more regular than usual, I guess. Usually like special occasions or holidays or whatever will come out here. And then obviously anybody can come out, sort of use the space as they want. Um,
How
in
progressive.
between, but yeah.
Okay. Just following up on the things that people might ask. Facilities for anyone who like might need to go to the bathroom or stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I'll show you. We've got like I mean, they're basically like permanent outhouses, like up along the path, easy enough.
Okay, great.
And so so first off, of the three of you, who put on tinfoil hats? Okay, so Luther did not.
No.
Okay. So you guys, he's leading you up, and then as you see, they're pretty much like as you're going up the path, you get to the first one of these little like offshoots, and you see like a brick building which has got like the male, female, whatever. This is one of the outhouses, and there's another one a little bit further up on the other side, so people can get it if they really need to go on the way out. That's one of the first things. Or if they really need to go before everything starts, they can get it over here. So there's one on each end, either side. And then walks up a little bit further. And then there's another like area that juts off to the right. And there's basically like a shrine there. And you see a couple of people kind of just sitting there. And they're speaking in a language that you probably don't immediately understand. I don't even know that any of you would recognize it. Do you guys want to? I guess all of you could give me an intelligence roll. So just roll the thing next to your intelligence that'll have a percentage. Just to see if you can kind of get an idea of where it's from. So Luther and Saturn, it sounds like North African, maybe like Middle Eastern, but you can't exactly like place where it is. Dr. Carter, you are probably just so nervous that you're just it's just people talking in some language at a shrine. And you see there's this stone statue. Best way I can describe it is almost like it almost looks like a Catholic shrine, except the instead of like the Virgin Mary or Jesus or something, it is what looks like a pharaoh. But the pharaoh has a hole where the face should be. I will. So I'm putting a picture in the cast chat. So it's like half mummy, almost looks like bottom half almost looks like a mummy in a sarcophagus kind of thing. But then it's got like the ornate headdress, arms crossed, but where the face is basically looks like a hole with some sort of like tentacle or some sort of mass coming out of the hole where his head is. And you don't really stop. He just kind of keeps walking. It's like, oh, there's a shrine over here to the Black Pharaoh, and then keeps moving on up. And you see, as you're walking up this pathway, a couple more of these little things that go off to the sides. And you see different versions of the best way I can describe it is imagine whatever that statue was of, but from different cultural backgrounds. So you've got like one that's almost uh, like a Japanese um, like a Japanese style statue of that figure. Then you see another one, and it's um, like a Scandinavian, but it's very much whatever the thing is. It's the same figure, just from different places, and it seems to be most of the little shrines have somebody, which you would guess is probably speaking some sort of regional dialect relating to that or that statue's origin nearby. Um, and yeah, Avery's just like, oh, don't mind those. Those are just folks using the facility. They may or may not come and join us, but
they're not part of our event.
No. Like I said, we just people use this for
Okay.
general purpose worship. It's just we have a special event going on. They're more than welcome to join
Okay.
us if they want to.
Okay. Because I was going to ask you, since we're kind of new to this, if you could give us a quick crash course on who these figures were. But I guess if they're not part of us, then we won't worry about it.
Yeah, this seems a lot more than what the brochures have. So I'm curious to just learn more about it.
Oh yeah. We can talk as we keep going. So and he go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I am going to try and pay as much attention to the way that we're taking.
So
So
the path is a very straightforward path. Like
yeah,
there are little like things that jut off to the sides, but none of like you're never going off onto one of these side paths. It's one main path down the middle
yeah.
essentially, and there are like
What
these little shrines off to the side.
what Saturn is going to try and observe as best as he can is any place in which this lovely woman that we're here to rescue, in which I just forgot the name, Riley, yeah, might be being detained. Any place that might serve as of some sort of cell and things like that. To at least
So
try and keep in mind
yeah,
and try and
yeah.
observe.
So you don't see anything like that yet. Like it's pretty much like all of these areas tend to be um like different like statues of different sizes. Some of them are kind of on like these ceremonial tables. Almost all of them have some sort of like candle arrangement around them. Most of the candles are lit. Obviously, if there's like a particular one where there's nobody sitting at it, there may not be a candle lit.
Mm-hmm.
But there is um like it's not sconce. Like torches essentially along the path, keeping it lit up because it's going to start getting dark very soon. Um, but it was like, oh yeah. The well, I mean, as you can tell from the welcoming center, there's kind of like this mesh of um like the aliens, but then like the aliens visiting like the ancient Egyptians, helping them with the pyramids and it's kind of like helping direct humanity through like technology and stuff, and we're just okay. I told you it was a surprise, but we think they're gonna come and see us today.
Ooh.
Really? Why?
Was there something special happening? The moon, maybe? I don't know. What?
Oh, you know about the moon, the black moon.
Yeah, a little, not a lot.
Oh, so it's like it's a special new moon. The black new moon. Yeah, it's but Nestor said the guests are finally gonna come, and yeah, we'll finally all get to see him tonight.
Oh, awesome.
Wow. So I imagine everyone's gonna want to come. They're not Gonna
You know,
just
it's some people think, you know, the number of times we've probably been told is like, oh, you know, they're going to show up, and you know they don't for whatever reason. But you know, we've been told since, you know, tonight's the night, and maybe, you know, tonight will be the night that we see them.
wow.
That's what we're all hoping for.
I
I'm
mean, isn't
hoping
that
for it.
always the hope?
Yeah, I mean, just to finally see with your own eyes and know that you're not crazy or
Hmm.
wasting your time. It's like, yeah, it's just, you know, and yeah, definitely hoping they show up tonight. But
Is there-
anyway,
if they do, is there anything special we're supposed to do?
oh, Nestor will, you know, tell us if there's anything we got to do. He's in charge of the whole thing, so he knows.
Okay.
He says he's seen them before, so if there's something we got to do, just listen to whatever he tells you.
Okay.
Mm.
And but yeah, anyway, the leader of the aliens, they refer to him as the Black Pharaoh.
Okay.
So so you know, those of us who are hopeful and believe that, you know, it's someday, you know, we'll meet him. Um, you know, that's what we use it for, is as just, you know, like worship and whatnot, just trying to pay our respects. But people, like I said, people use it, you know, all year long, you know, even when we don't have sightings. It's just, you know, it's kind of kicked back up a lot of interest. And you know, maybe uh you know, like some people only go to church on Sundays. We're getting a lot more of the we're getting a lot more people in regularly ever since everything started. So
Yeah, makes sense.
um we're almost there. And then, you know, any other questions you got, otherwise, you know, just we'll walk back down and you know, just kind of get ready to walk folks up. And so you walk up and you get to essentially this like plateau, which is like this big, almost like amphitheater kind of opening, completely lined with trees. Um, but in the middle is basically these lines of pews, essentially is what it looks like seating area. And in the middle, um, there's like an aisle down the center. There's like the seats along, and at the very end, you see this big, um, like stone table, and behind the stone table is sort of like raised up. Um, they're like benches. Um, uh, and but yeah, there's this big, what looks like jade, um, of that first statue you saw. Um, and this is probably a little bit more than average human height. Um, but yeah, it's this um pharaoh looking figure, arms crossed, hole where the face should be, and some sort of like mass coming out of where the hole is. Could easily be tentacles, could easily be um some part of like the ceremonial headdress, because you see like the things kind of move off up into toward the headdress of the figure is.
Could they be like supply tubes on a spacesuit?
That could easily be interpreted as, now that you look at it, could be like a an ancient sort of like version of a suit.
Hmm.
But yeah, as you guys kind of come up and you see this area, we are gonna go to break. and we'll be back in 10 minutes. See you soon. And we're back. So where we left off, our agents had been escorted up by Avery to what can logically be assumed to be the site of the ritual. I know Saturn, you had been kind of like keeping an eye out. You do see an area um, like a it's not as clear of a path as you guys have been walking on, but there is like a little bit of like an offshoot off behind the statue, where you would assume that if there is a place they are keeping Riley or somebody, like some sort of staging area before what the ritual, that would be where it is.
Yeah,
Um,
that's certainly something that we're gonna take note and wait for our guide to be finished.
Yeah. And once he gets up here, just like, yeah, when you bring people up here, obviously just let them sit wherever they want. There's no assigned seating. Obviously except for Nestor will be up front. And then whenever if he needs like assistance, Steve will help him. But aside from that, people sit wherever they want, and then you basically are just kind of ushering them up and down, the path. It should start. I got a couple of things I got to do up here if you guys want to head back down towards the center, so you can start moving folks up and down. And then any questions, anything before I set you guys free?
No, it seems pretty clear so far.
Perfect.
You got
And then
it.
he would have pointed out, like, as you guys were coming up just off to the left, where that other like outhouse facility would have been, going down the other side of the little stairway. Because you had asked about that earlier, but yeah. So he kind of goes off on that path that Saturn had noticed. The where the presumed like staging area would be. He goes in that direction, but leaves you guys essentially to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturn goes immediately to the both of them and says, "No good. If she's anywhere, he's there." He points to the place exactly where he's going.
Okay. I think we should, once he gets inside or wherever he's going, we should follow and look closer at it. Do you think that's what we should do?
Perhaps.
Should we all go? Would that be suspicious?
First,
What's a question we could have that we need to ask Avery, just to have a reason to go after
Were there
him?
refreshments anywhere?
You know what? That's a great one.
yeah. Also, this fucking symbol in the clothings.
Yeah, what is that?
I have no idea. Actually, he will try to give a proper analysis now that they are having a little more time. Is there anything that comes to mind when I see the symbols?
Give me. The only reason I'm having you roll for this instead of just telling you is because it is unnerving to you a little bit. So give me a craft microelectronics.
Ooh,
Okay, I roll that too.
Sure.
let's see.
Great. Love it.
Yeah, it just looks like thread to Dr. Carter. Saturn, you definitely get a sense that there's probably some sort of alien technology involved with this. you can't exactly place what it is, but there is something about either the symbol itself or the threading or something about it gives off like alien technology vibes. Which I'm not gonna hit you with any more sanity, but it probably sort of reinforces the uneasiness.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Saturn tenses up when goes, "This is alien tech."
I can't say I'm surprised.
Any idea what
Uh,
it does?
No.
Hmm.
Actually, we should just focus on trying to get her and get out of here as soon as we can.
I think
Yeah.
so.
All right, I'm going to go follow Avery into the building just to ask him the question about refreshments. See if, or you
oh,
want?
I'm sorry. Finish what you were saying.
No, good. No, good.
Oh no no. So you knock on the door, probably just about as it closes, and he opens up and is like, "Oh hey Luther, what's up? Did I forget something?"
Yeah, we were just wondering, are there like for people coming in, are there like refreshments going to be available?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. If you go to like back to the entrance,
Hmm.
um, they'll have them there, and you can like help set up with that. Since you got to go back down that way anyway to bring people back up, um, it'll be down there.
Are the guests allowed to bring them up the walk
Oh
with
yeah,
us?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And then while we're talking, I try to look in behind him to see if I can see anything in the room behind him.
Hmm. So I'm gonna have you roll two things for this one.
Okay.
Roll a search.
Okay.
And then roll a stealth.
Yay!
So you see, um, what you think could be like a door that goes to somewhere, but you're not especially sure where it would go to. Um, it's like, oh, and then Avery sees you looking.
Mhm.
He's like, oh yeah, 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 that's just that's where we keep all of the um like all of the supplies we need for the ritual. We'll get them out here in a minute. Um, but don't worry about that. We'll take care of that. Give me a human roll, which I know you're garbage at, but
Absolutely.
ooh, but you were close. Um, when he said the word supplies, he wasn't being misleading, but at this, like, he wasn't lying to you, but he was definitely not saying everything he meant. He definitely
Hmm.
knows something's going on.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so what do you do?
Hmm. Do like well, the other two are going to go down and help with the people. Can I help you set up the supplies or put things out up here?
Oh no, 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 no. I've got it. I've got it. Don't worry about it.
Because I mean, strong back. I can help you with anything you need.
Give me. So I know I'm having you roll a whole bunch, but
It's all right.
it's kind of you're working in a stressful environment, so it makes the most
Mhm.
sense. Give me a persuade, which you're also awful at. Ah, no,
Uh,
it's fine. It's fine. I got it. But I appreciate you offering.
sure. Well,
Um,
if you change your mind, you know where I am.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that. Um, and then he kind of leads you out of the room and closes the door behind you without really giving you a um like an opportunity to kind of stay past your welcome.
Okay, so it's obvious to Luther anyway that he's being shooed out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's he doesn't want your help for whatever he's doing up here. And it may or may not be for a nefarious reason.
May or may not. Okay.
Yeah. So you guys probably have like 10, 15 minutes where you guys would probably kind of left completely to your own devices. What do you want to do?
Well, when I get back to the other two, I want to tell them what I saw and the feeling that he's not all completely on the up and up, and that there's something in that building that he doesn't really want us to know about.
Okay, so we have not much time. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna wait till they bring her out? Are they even gonna bring her out?
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, I would imagine that that's supposed to be the surprise they were talking about, but I don't know.
Yeah. The surprise is literally them showing up, completing the whole thing.
Maybe one of us waits at that house. One of us waits in the main house, and one of us is at the ritual site. Since we have
Okay.
our comms. And then we can act accordingly.
Okay. I volunteer to be up at the ritual site if anyone, unless anyone else really wants to be there.
I think you might be better at the house where they're holding her. That way you can grab
Yeah.
her and transition. That'd probably be the easiest time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense for me to be at the ritual site because I have the most experience and knowledge on these things.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll be helpful. And then maybe there's something technology related in the house or the main area, Saturn, that you can do something with.
I can try to do something at least. I don't know. Maybe get some info about these robes.
The robes, maybe find a power source to shut off whatever's powering all this stuff.
Yes.
Something that's like a signal jammer. Something.
Mm-hmm.
And then
we do
once any of us make progress, then we'll let each other know and we'll go back to the car.
Okay.
Okay. And now I just got to figure out some reason to go back up there. And
I mean, you don't have to be at the door. Just like hide around the corner of the building.
yeah, but I'm just in case he comes out and spots me on the way up to it. I mean,
You dropped a contact.
Yeah, he has no idea. Yeah, good idea. Okay, great. Glad you're here.
Okay.
I don't know if that was sarcasm or not.
Oh no, it wasn't.
Let's
Okay.
go, team.
So you guys decide to, against all partying history, to split the party. Okay.
Yes.
So we'll start. So you guys go and so Saturn is going to the main entrance area. Am I understanding that correctly? And then Luther
Yes.
and Carolyn are basically back up towards the top, with Luther kind of closer to the building that Avery went into. Am I understanding that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Luther's going to try to go around the side of the building where he saw the door.
Okay.
That Avery was trying to brush him away from, and try to go around behind that part of the building just to listen really closely to see if he can hear anything.
Give me another stealth. Yes, you make it around. You're convinced, like, fairly well. You've done enough of these kind of operations where you get a sense of if you're moving a little too heavy, or you think you've done it right this time. And you make it around, and you get to about where the whatever would have been on the other side of that door that you saw. You get to about there, and there's like a couple like very small windows high up. They seem more as like a ventilation kind of thing more than it is like a window to look out of. It's too tall for you to where
Look
you are
into.
like get a look into.
Okay.
But you do notice that you can hear what seems to be two male voices and a female voice, and they all seem very jovial.
Okay.
Um, I'm not going to make you roll a hument because
Yeah.
you'll just fail.
Yes, I will.
You all will. But whoever is in here in that room doesn't sound like it sounds like they're all friendly with each other to some degree.
Okay. And it's I get the feeling there's 4 of them in there.
3.
3. Okay.
2 men, 1 woman.
Okay. I wasn't sure if there was another woman.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, I'm going to keep listening.
Okay. And with your stealth, I think you maintain your cover enough to where
Is it dark? Is it dark out yet?
yeah, so it's getting to the point where like the Carolyn out towards the ritual site will start to see more people kind of coming up, and you would kind of see from where you're standing, you would be able to see part of the ritual areas. You would start to see some people sort of like showing up. But then you also see um or oh, I'm just trying to figure out. You keep disappearing.
Oh,
It's because he's leaning far forward.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I just wasn't sure it was something on my end because that's already happened once tonight. The yeah, so you notice the you can see people starting to come up, and Dr. Carter, you'll see people kind of coming up from the pathway. Other people in similar robes as yours, kind of like ushering folks up. People start taking their seats. You see a handful of them with like snacks in their hands or whatever. But yeah, most people don't really have anything with them. Either they may have eaten or drinking something down there, or they're just kind of waiting. Just um, but from where, so I'm gonna leave Luther there because you're just kind of like staking the place out. What is Dr. Carter doing while this is going on?
She's probably,
And also remember, you guys have comms, so you guys can
yeah,
relay information to each other.
she's probably getting a closer look at the ritual site itself without trying to be like, almost maybe more like gawking
Okay.
at the ritual site because she's new. I mean, she's gonna be excited.
Yeah.
And try while also trying to see if there's anything that she can do to kind of mess it up, potentially, or like something.
Give me an occult roll.
Cool. Damn it.
You don't know exactly how this ritual is supposed to work, so it's really hard um, to figure out exactly what you would need to do to interrupt it. But with your science background and whatnot, you know for a fact that on this table there has been a large amount of blood at some point. Probably more than once, and cleaned up every time. Like somehow, like, and this is like a white stone table, and it's like really hard to get blood to completely get out of like white stone. So there's like a couple spots where you can see like it's probably soaked in a little bit, but it is it is remarkably clean for what you would expect a blood-soaked ritual table to be.
Okay.
You don't think that anything has happened within like the last week or two?
Yeah, no, she
But
thinks it's been a month. Um, she yeah, uh, she's
is she getting wigged out by this?
no, she's not wigged out. She doesn't know what to do. She's gonna get a seat in the front row. This is what she's
Okay.
gonna do.
Okay. So while this is going on, what is Saturn doing?
I think Saturn is going to not literally sneak around, but go into the house and trying to, oh, where's the bathroom? Things like that.
Okay.
And when he arrives in the bathroom, he's going to take out his fucking robe and try to pick around as much as he can on the stack. Just try and see if he can find out what it does and if it does something harmful to them, how to disable it.
Okay, so give me a science mathematics.
Ooh. Let me see. Science, mathematics.
It should be, I think it's on the bottom, special skills.
Oh, found it. Thank you.
So okay, so I need you to roll something else. Okay. So
Okay.
roll your sanity. So now I need you to roll oh no, so you'll just lose one. So you lose one sanity.
Okay.
There is some sort of alien like design that starts making sense to you. That the robes seem to be able to be remotely controlled, but also grant you some amount of resistance. But you aren't exactly sure what it is a resistance to. But it almost feels like it is it's designed to be some sort of identification that is supposed to keep you separated from other folks.
Did Avery have a similar robe?
Yeah, so all of the people who are kind of essentially here in like a working situation was given a robe.
Okay.
And I'll say actually um with your um with your success that you got with the science, um there's only a handful of them that seem to have whatever's in yours, but you would have to get a closer look to tell the difference. But you're confident that if you were to look at like other robes, you would be able to tell which ones have it and which ones don't.
Okay. So Saturn utilizes his comms to divulge this information to the other two. He simply goes, these robes are some sort of controlling device, but they also give us some sort of immunity.
So do we keep them or do we get rid of them?
Depends. I have to give a closer. Luther.
Yeah.
Do you remember the symbol well? The symbol in our robes.
I kind of do. I mean, probably not photographic memory of it, but
Try and get a closer look at Avery's robes.
okay.
If you see the same symbol, we keep it. If it's a different symbol, we have to get rid of it.
Understood.
And round about this time, you hear this like loud horn, and you realize that it is coming from the shack right by where you are, Luther. That seems to be some sort of a signal for whatever is about to happen to start.
Okay. Do I hear
Um,
them moving around inside now?
Yeah.
Or talking?
Yeah, the all three of the people that you heard inside all kind of get like quiet, and you hear like some shuffling around. You hear a door kind of like creak open a little bit. But the horn goes off 7 times. And then down where Saturn is, you all hear it, and you start to see people kind of coming up, sort of like turning, and it's basically like the focus is, oh, we know it's about to start, and then everyone who is still kind of like uh, uh, lingering in the entrance area, a couple of people have like a couple of people like grabbed snacks that they're going to take with them up to the ritual area. Um, it being 2024, and you're still going to have people. Some people are still wearing like face masks, and but yeah, so everybody basically kind of like turns their attention, follows the path along, and starts making with their way up to the ritual site.
Okay. After the horn starts going off, after maybe the third or so,
Yeah.
I'm going to go around the front of the building.
Okay.
Like I'm going to go in and get Avery. He's like, hey, something's going off. Is there something you need us to do? But before we go in, are there lights outside of the shack, lighting up the path to it? Or no?
No. So like the between like where the shack is and where it would kind of come back to the ritual area, there's no light. There's like a very a not a well-defined path, but enough of a path where you can easily make it between one and the other, but it doesn't stand out, if that makes sense.
Okay. And then in that case, I'm going to go around the front and try to open the door to go in.
Okay.
And
It doesn't open.
it's locked.
Mhm.
I will persuade it.
You're gonna persuade the door?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have lockpick?
I was thinking more forcefully than that.
Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then yeah, give me a give me a strength. Yeah, you barrel like straight through the door and see 3 men and a woman standing there. You recognize Avery, and from the reports and everything that you've got, you recognize Riley.
Okay.
I take it back. From the information that Saturn got from the computer, you recognize Nestor.
Okay.
You have no idea who the third man is.
Okay.
He is like early 30s, blonde, and they all turn their attention like immediately to you.
Oh, so sorry. It was the door was stuck. I heard the horn go off. I just want to make sure if there was anything we needed to do. Um, and I kind of pushed maybe a little too hard on the door. Sorry.
Oh, you just could have knocked. Yeah, we are just getting ready. Yeah, everything's about to start. Um, roll power.
Where's that?
So it would be your stat.
There it is. I
Yeah.
see it.
Um, you kind of like look between the four people, and you get locked onto Steven's eyes.
Okay, I don't know it's Steven, or do I know now at this point that it?
You can logically assume the only other person would be up here. Like you were told Steven would be helping Nestor. It would
Okay.
You can make a logical assumption here that it's Steven. And he catches your eyes. And then you immediately feel like all you want to do is run. So I need you to roll sanity. So roll me a d6. So you lose one sanity from passing. But his eyes like linger on you for a moment, and you feel your knees kind of buckle. Roll a power. So you're able to like catch yourself before you fall, but all you want to do is get away from this person.
No, I'm locked into mission mode at this point.
I am telling you,
Mhm.
your training aside, your survival instinct is telling you leave. Not so much like flee the premises, but get away from him right here, right now.
Okay. I guess it wouldn't hurt. Nothing's happened to her yet. She's in good shape. Uh, oh, okay. Sorry. There's something I need to take care of out back. I'm sorry. I'll talk to you all later, and I'll go and leave
Okay.
and try to head up towards where Carolyn is.
Okay. And like none of them stop you, and then like when you get like a couple steps away, you hear them kind of like laugh. It's kind of like, oh, that was awkward, sort of a thing. But you distinctly notice you hear there's four people. You hear two men and one woman laughing, but you distinctly don't hear one person laughing. One of the guys.
Okay. Do the ones I hear laughing, do I recognize them as at
So
least one of them being Avery?
you know Avery is laughing, and you know the woman is laughing.
Okay.
You haven't heard the other two talk, so you don't know which of the
Right.
two of them.
Right.
Um,
I'm going to
but-
assume, based on what I just experienced, that it was Nestor laughing and not Steve.
It's a reasonable assumption. So you head back. Everybody, by this point would have been like congregated essentially. There may be like one or two stragglers here and there. But the vast majority of the body is kind of in their seats or getting seated. So I'll give you a chance to like talk with each other.
On the
Um,
on the way up to meet Carolyn, I'm
Yeah.
going to tell everybody what happened
Mhm.
and what I saw, what Steven looks like, and what I think he did.
Okay.
But and also that Riley is with him and seems to be in good spirits.
So what are we gonna do?
Need to take her out.
How?
If we get somebody to occupy Steve, he seems to be the one that's the most danger to us.
They're gonna be on stage soon.
Well,
Yeah.
do you think we can get back, the three of us get back, or in time to intercept them before they?
Okay, I
So
have an idea.
I'm going to say that this is roughly in real time. So you guys have, let's say, maybe about 15, 20 more seconds to decide what you're going to do because they're
Carolyn?
going to start coming out.
Can we say Caroline had a bottle of water on her?
Sure.
She is going. This is gonna end real badly. She is going to pour water all around the altar, like pour like probably like right behind it where someone looks like they're standing.
Okay.
Where they would stand.
Okay. I think I understand the intent here, but okay.
This is all she's got.
Okay. And then what are the rest of you doing?
Well, Saturn doesn't have much to do here, so he's going to try and keep an eye out in the way that he can see the way out, and he can guarantee that the way out will be free for them to flee as soon as possible.
Okay. So roughly about this point, you see a man that you all recognize from the information on the website as Nestor. And then Nestor is leading leading Riley by the hand, who is like wide-eyed, big bright smile. From Dr. Carter's medical experience, she doesn't look like anything is wrong with her, like at all, other than maybe, a little bit of cult brainwashing. Like, she doesn't physically look like anything's happened to her yet. And then right behind them, kind of like on either side of them, or I'm sorry, on the opposite side of Nestor from Riley, Steven stands there with his hands kind of like clasped in front of him, just kind of like looking around and smiling, which is a completely different expression than you saw him with Luther. Like he was completely devoid of emotion, when you saw him and when he looked into you, but now he looks like as best as you can guess, like a normal human. Like he doesn't have that stare. He doesn't, like, you don't feel any sort of like weird anything coming off of him. And Avery goes to sit down in the front row.
At this point, I'd meant to look at their belts to see about the symbol and whether they're the same as ours or not. But we guess
You
we
mean
have to
on
do
the
that.
like the robe tunic thing?
Yeah.
So everyone who has the robe on it's the same symbol. Your best guess from looking at it is they all look the same to you.
Okay.
You don't know. It is hard for someone to describe exactly what it is that Saturn's trying to have you look for. And Saturn isn't even exactly aware of what he's looking for. He just kind of, it's like one of those he'll know it when he sees it sort of things. Just because he had like the
Epiphany.
he had the insight. And so he kind of will respond to it more than you guys will. As far as you can tell, they all look the same.
And I say to the other members of the team covertly as I can, Stephen is the problem. If it comes to it, I will concentrate on taking him out while you get Riley out.
Point him out to Phillips. Tell Phillips what he looks like.
He has, well, he seems to have abilities that just to be done with him as quick as possible is the best route.
I guess tell Phillips to move now.
Okay.
Um,
We should
all
probably tell Ashton too.
all three of you, give me a search. Luther, you're looking around, and one of the people wearing a mask, you can tell by the eyes that it's Agent Ashton.
Okay. I'll nod to her if she's looking.
She's just kind of like looking around, kind of taking it in, trying, being inconspicuous, but at a point, like, she kind of like catches your eye and then just kind of gives you like a blink that you kind of recognize. She recognizes you and is acknowledging that you're there, but then quickly looks away so as not to draw any attention.
Can I make my way over to her?
Sure.
Okay. I'll do that and then let her know what I know about Steve as much as I can.
So you do have comms.
With
So you
her,
don't.
but that's not exactly as covert as we need to be at this point
Okay.
with her.
Okay.
So
What's going on? Why did you come over here?
Well, you see, they have Riley, the next
She's
victim.
right there.
Yeah.
I can see her.
Okay. Do you know Steve Alsip? And I'll kind of describe or point him out as much as I can without being
So
obvious.
while you're doing this, they're all standing up front.
Right. Yeah.
So she can
Right.
see all of them. So you just tell them the blonde guy up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The blonde guy.
I'm familiar with him.
How familiar? Do you know his powers?
I can tell you that we are probably woefully underprepared. I thought he was gone.
What are the chances of success of a physical attack?
Do you know math that takes numbers below 0?
No, except for my bank account occasionally.
Think about your bank account then. That percent.
Oh, okay.
This has now become a recovery and escape.
Understood.
But whatever happens to us, we need to stop whatever's going to happen here. Nothing that man does is good for anybody.
Okay. And while I was talking with her, was there any way for me to have like open comms so that
Mhm.
Agent Carter and Saturn could hear what was being said?
Yeah.
Okay.
What'll happen if we fail?
What'll happen if we fail to stop this ritual?
Something much, much worse than Steve.
I don't know what
That's-
that means.
Saturn
I have a
says,
feeling Luther understands.
I do.
Luther, you have weapons.
I do.
The first chance you get, you need to take her and you need to get the fuck out of here. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about my team. Get her and get away as quickly as you can.
Okay.
Am I understood?
You are understood. All right. Is there any chance you guys can create a diversion off to one side? The side not closest to the one we'll use for exit.
It's already being done. Just watch.
Okay. And I'll make my way up and try to position myself as close to Riley as possible.
So
I could have saved you a seat,
yeah,
Okay.
so we're front row.
I'm assuming competence it here, because the
Mhm.
last thing you're going to want to do is be a new recruit and try and act like you're part of the party. So
Yeah, right.
And you see the you see Riley sort of like, Nestor is doing this big old, tonight's the night, in a very much more charismatic way than I can ever do as me. But he is talking up the end is nigh. This is, the culmination of a year of preparation. And he sort of like motions with his hand and sort of kind of escorts Riley onto the table. And at first she sits there, but then swings her legs up and kind of like lays down on the table. And roughly about this time, you see like two of the people who have masks on stand up and basically start unloading small submachine guns into Steven.
That's the signal.
Distraction, all right.
While he's being shot, Steven just starts laughing. At which point you see Riley take a dagger from Nestor, and she starts stabbing Nestor with it.
Can I shoot her with a stun gun?
Sure.
Attempt to.
So we're going to use that as your firearms roll.
Is
Unless you have a better idea of what it could be.
No, is there like a way to make it easier? Like a willpower almost? Or like, I don't know what it is in this game.
Here, we'll do this. Roll for me your science biology.
Okay.
Let me see if you can think. Oh, I think that's exactly it. Yeah. Okay. So you have an idea of where would be a good point. Like if you shot her with this thing, where can you just stop her from what she's doing? So I will give you a bonus. So roll your firearms and we'll see what you get. You didn't even need it.
Yes.
Yeah, so you whip out the stun gun, and you light her up. She gets probably like 2 or 3 good jabs in before the shock just basically just like contorts her body, and then she just passes out. What are the other two of you doing at this specific moment?
Okay. Well, when the submachine gun fire starts ringing out, I'm going to be watching to see if Steve is paying attention to them. And then as soon as
Steve is laughing while he's being shot.
Right, but is his attention directly on the ones shooting him?
I mean, he's looking in their direction, but he doesn't. It's soon enough where you can't exactly tell what part of this.
Okay.
Is he registering to being shot? Is he just having a fun time? Like, you can't tell. All you know is I guess he is looking in their direction, but you don't know if it's just like a reflex or if he's registering that they're the ones shooting him. But
Can I tell if he's taking physical damage? I mean, having seen quite a bit of it in my time, can I tell that?
he has definitely been shot and he is definitely bleeding.
Okay. All right. Well, I won't pay much of attention to him. As soon as Carolyn takes Riley down and she's incapacitated, I'm gonna go try and run and grab her and carry her like a potato sack.
Okay.
After making sure that the dagger is not in her hand.
Okay. Yeah, when she got shocked, after she stopped spasming, she would have released the dagger and the dagger would have dropped.
Okay.
So in this moment, what is Saturn doing?
Oh, Saturn is trying to clear the way out as much as he can, shoving people, using the taser if necessary, guaranteeing that no one's going to be in Luther's way, so they can all flee.
Okay. While this is all going on in this 10-15 second mass of time, all of a sudden you hear this loud. The best way you can describe it is like a horn from heaven. And then there is this blinding white light. And it's like it's coming from somewhere above you, and it is like this is like the definition of shock and awe. The sound is debilitating, the light is debilitating. And you notice that everybody except for Steve and for Nestor are instinctively like eyes closed, hands over their ears, sort of a thing, including the three of you. When the light, and it's just like it's a flash, and the horn is just kind of one of those like one loud like but as soon as it all dissipates, standing at like three different sides of the table, so kind of like back behind it and then two ends, are what you can only describe as everything you've ever heard an alien look like. And they're probably about a little taller than human. Large, bald gray head, big black eyes. And they seem completely unfazed by the chaos going around them. And they look around, and at this point, Luther, you have Riley?
Yes.
Okay. So they're looking around, and then they look to you, and they see you carrying this girl, and then immediately turn their attention to Nestor. They reach down, and as like they're reaching down, you see this like puddle of blood from where Nestor got stabbed. And all of a sudden there's this really intense buzzing sound. And it sounds like it's coming from the aliens. And none of you have any idea what they're saying, but they're clearly communicating with each other. Um, I need sanity rolls from all of you. So Carter and Doyle, I need you both to roll a 1d6. Saturn, I need you to roll a 1d10. So Carolyn, you lose a sanity. Luther will lose 2. Carlos loses 6. And you see one of them essentially pull this orb seemingly out of nowhere, and he hits a button, or what looks like they're hitting a button on it. And there's another like flash of light. No, I need to roll something for this.
No.
Sorry. Okay. So you notice that when he hits the button, one of the agents, presumably one of the people shooting at Steven, crumples in on himself, essentially like a trash compactor, but into like a small ball, and then with like a wet thud hits the ground. It doesn't immediately seem to have affected anybody else. But another one will use. Yeah, so I got to roll one more. Yeah. And so the other one pulls what essentially looks like a. It's more like a tube than anything else. But he seems to make like a couple of like really intricate motions on it, and the other agent who is shooting like completely freezes and is almost like a statue, but still looks like very much like a human. It's like if somebody hit pause in a video, that is what this dude looks like. He is frozen in time. And then the third one, this is like looking at the what's left of. By this point, Nestor has fallen kind of into a bloody heap. Blood's kind of like pouring out of him. And the buzzing sound starts to sound eerily like laughter. And then there's essentially like a rip in space and time. And out of this, a matte black, and we're talking like the darkest person you have ever seen, like unnaturally black, steps out, completely clad in black clothing, black skin, black eyes, and he just smiles. And I need one more sanity roll from all three of you. So I need Carolyn and Saturn roll a d6, and then Luther roll a d12. So how much sanity have you guys lost total?
3.
3 for me. Not
Oh,
not, not including this.
No. Points total.
3.
Including this is 3.
Yes, including this.
Oh, in that case.
oh, if I think I lost 6. No.
Did you started at 50. So you've
Oh,
lost
it's-
8 so far.
No, I am at 39.
Oh, after this roll then. So you lost
Yeah.
11.
Okay.
I lost 11.
10 for me total.
So Carolyn, I think like the skeptic in your brain is trying to figure out like why, like there has to be a rational explanation for everything you're seeing right now. I mean, you've just seen aliens, confirmed aliens for the first time in the entirety probably of your life.
She's been mentally preparing for this moment for years.
The strange guy to walk out of some dimensional rift doesn't even register really to you. The other two, you have a sense that what you have seen is the closest thing to divinity that you have ever or likely will ever experience. Unfortunately, not all divine beings are good.
Right.
So both of you basically black out. And then one of the three aliens, the one who had the tube, makes a different set of movements on the tube. And then there's this bright light. And then when the light fades, the scene, the three of you are missing. The body of Nestor is missing. The body of Steven is missing. And when the scene comes back, it's a sunny day. And you all find yourselves in a field. You don't remember how you got here. You don't know exactly where you are. But you see this big wooden thing in front of you. And then it hits you that you don't know what that thing is. And then you have this urge to look down at your hands. But you don't see hands. You see paws. And it's that moment that you realize something's gone horribly, horribly wrong. And that is where we're ending it. I'd like to thank my players. Yeah, you guys stopped nothing. Thank you
Not
guys
for
for
lack
joining
of
us.
trying.
Yeah,
Yep.
you gave it a good valiant effort. Yes, thank you. If you guys want to, I need to pull up all of the stuff for this. Forgot to have it up earlier. Find on the Discord, where if you want to find all of the terrible things that are going on in my head and where things went wrong, feel free to ask. It's where all of the casting happens. I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to run this game. You guys to play in my bad shit. Yeah. Non-casting stuff happens in the Discord as well. We do regular Zoom calls, hangouts and stuff. If you want to watch any back episodes, all of the McStabber stuff is on theirs. There's also the London Esoteric Society, where Tis puts all of her Call of Cthulhu or D&D. London Esoteric Society will be back soon. If you want to buy any fun stuff, don't worry, there won't be anything from this because, dear Lord, why? We can also go and see all of our friends, one of which is Red here in chat, or here in stream with us. You got anything going on?
Not really.
That's fair. But if you're on the Discord, get notified when any of our friends go live. If you want to give any bits or donations, or you want to support, you can use your Prime subscription for a free subscribe. Or if you want to do bits donations, those go to the players. Or you can do a donation to the McStabbers over at their KoFi. And then the next week is a bit light compared to recent, because no more Delta Green, thankfully for everybody. Kansas City tomorrow on Friday. And then on Saturday is Hidden City. And then Changeling next Wednesday the 5th. And that takes us through this week. And then if you need help, in chat right now is phone numbers, text numbers, and there's also a website. If you need help, get help. It's okay to not be okay, especially with everything going on in the world. Just know that we all love you. Yeah, it's okay to not be okay. Ask help. Ask for help if you need help. But yeah, thank you again to Raylan and to Shanky for giving me the opportunity to run this. Thank you, Urian, Red, and Claciate. Thank you guys so much for joining in, even if none of us have any idea what's going on. And then see you guys soon. Have a good night.
Right. Hi, everybody.